actually before I was even 18, I was taken out of a car with some friends late at night when we were in high school and held at gunpoint, and by police.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Law Media. Thank you for allowing us to serve you with truth, honesty, and perseverance. My name is Sarah, and I'm going to be your host today. And today I have the amazing attorney, Mr. Joseph Johnson, here with me today. And Mr. Joseph Johnson, he is actually a trial lawyer and a mediator here in California. He works out of Mission Viejo. And he, just giving a quick background, he attended Laverne Law School, and he also went to Cal Poly in Pomona. How are you today, Mr. Johnson?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. I'm super excited to have him. And just in case the ladies are wondering, I'm going to throw that out there really early. He is single, so holler at us on Law Media, guys. So I wanted to get started, and today I wanted to talk about racism and jury selection and how that affects brown and black communities. So I understand that you represent a lot of Hispanic Americans.
I have in my practice. I would say a great majority, maybe 70% even, of my practice has been representing the unrepresentable, or the people that don't have the voice, undocumented citizens, or people, immigrants here in the United States.
Okay. And I just want to also point out to all of our viewers, if I use the word Hispanic, we love, love, love all people. We like as many different people as possible. So I understand that Hispanics and Latinos are different words, but we mean absolutely no harm. Latinos, we love you guys. Moving on. So, how does racism and police brutality affect black and brown communities?
By not being myself a part of those communities, I do have to give you that stand back, because clearly I'm not. It's only what my observations have been from what I've seen in my experience professionally and also personally. My circle of influence, my groups and my friends are very diverse. I'm typically the only person that looks like this if you see me out in public with people. What I see is a lot of desire to follow rules, rule following, rule abiding, but there is always this fear whenever police are involved, that I've been able to see and perceive, that when police are involved or police come around, we see that my friends, who don't look exactly like me, tense up. They don't act the same way. They become very worried. And that's been something that's affected me, and it's been very difficult. You probably didn't even know this, but when I was, actually before I was even 18, I was taken out of a car with some friends late at night when we were in high school and held at gunpoint, and by police. And so for doing literally nothing, and then put back in the car and sent on our way, that affected me. And so I do have a little bit of understanding of how horrible that must be, to be seeing that in your neighborhood, in your community, your entire life. I mean, I became absolutely frightened to death of police just from that one incident at 16 and a half, 17.
And following up on that, there is a case that was in the news. Andres Guardado, excuse my enunciation, but he was shot down, and some of the officers that were arrested or that are being investigated for this are Hispanic as well. Do you find that it is an absolute racism thing, or it is more of a us versus them when it comes to police and black and brown communities?
I think that's an excellent question. What I see more of is an us versus them. There is a culture in the police force that's similar to a military police or military culture, and that's a brotherhood or sisterhood where they have each other's backs. And I understand that there always are internal cliques and problems within the police, but when it comes down to it, it's, can you trust the person you're with? And if everybody has the culture together that's in uniform, and that culture is typically identifying baddies, as they call them, and they happen to not look like me, then that's going to be a problem. But when it comes down to it, there needs to be a change. As far as I'm concerned, policing in this country is something that became militarized over 100 years ago, and it needs to go back to a community standard and ideal where we can actually trust our law enforcement.
I agree with that. Do you think that when it comes to, and I'm just going to switch to juries really quick, do you think that, or how do you think we can increase the jury awards when people are killed in wrongful death cases and police brutality cases? How do you think we can increase those awards for people in Black and brown communities?
Unfortunately, you never know what a jury's going to do, and it's going to come down to your selection as an attorney and your ability to pick the jury that you want. The tools that you use to analyze your jury pool are very important. I have used different tools in the past. I've been patted on the back by judges who've wanted to see afterwards what I've used and looked at my iPad and my trial notes and things. The key is that we have a diverse jury that gives, for the plaintiff's side, the award that the plaintiff attorney is looking for. And so it gets deep into the selection process more than anything. I do see, communities, for example, Los Angeles, we have 30-40% of the jury is almost always going to end up being not looking like me. But the pool itself is really 70% that doesn't look like me. So it does come down. I guess the discrepancy in the pool is going to come back to the idea that sometimes we want people with certain socioeconomic backgrounds or educational backgrounds to help us in our trial versus the color of the skin. And I have been absolutely skunked by an all-white jury. So I know how bad it can be.
Do you mind? You told me about that off camera. Do you mind if we talk a little bit about that case where you had the all-white jury? And this is actually he's a seasoned trial lawyer. It's actually the only trial he's ever lost. And it seems like from everything else, it doesn't seem like it was due to your skills or your talent. Let's talk a little bit about what that jury looked like and where that was located.
So this was a trial. It was my first trial, my first jury trial. I was second chair. We were brought in at the very end to try this case. And I came in with my boss and we tried the case and we did everything we could to get the best jury we could. Our clients were all immigrants, documented and not, from Mexico. And the jury turned out to be pretty much all white. We had one alternate juror who didn't look exactly like me. I mean, they were of all different ages, but she looked a little different. And one day into the trial, she came in with a note and was excused. And so I ended up with a 2.5-month trial of 12 Caucasians of all different socioeconomic background. And I thought we had a good jury. And opposing counsel put a picture up of one of the decedents. It was a wrongful death case. So this was the child of my client who was wrongfully killed, in my opinion. And he was wearing clothes that were very known to be of Latino gang affiliation. It was just a flannel checked shirt buttoned on the top, and he had a wife beater underneath. The kid was 14. He just dressed that way because that's how everyone dressed at school. And defense counsel kept showing that picture, and we couldn't figure out why. And I had no idea. Defense counsel was a seasoned lawyer, trial lawyer in that area. He knew exactly what he was doing. And his closing arguments were, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And I thought, we won! And the next day they came back with a 12-0 against us.
Wow.
And after polling the jury, I found out what was going on. We had one juror who was from Los Angeles, and he was bawling. And he told us, he said, I could not get them to give a Mexican anything. I'm so sorry. I should have held my ground.
And when you say that, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to open this up or put this on, but I will. Do you find that there's a difference between racism and white solidarity in law?
I've never thought about that. Definitely on that jury, white solidarity. Absolutely. The people the jurors hugged my clients, and they were all crying afterwards and they were apologizing. But it was very clear that the reason why they came with the defense verdict was because they saw this individual, the decedent, as a gang member, as a potential threat, as a baddie. And so they just didn't want to help anyone out.
That's very unfortunate. Moving on, I'm so glad that he's so honest, guys. Definitely look for Mr. Johnson. You can not say anything bad about the attorney community, but I definitely appreciate his candor and his honesty. So I'm going to move on to the next question and back off of the racism a little bit. How can attorneys better serve the Latino community?
Well, number one would be learn the language. I'm bilingual. I'm fluent in Spanish. I also speak Portuguese, but I'm not very good at it because I don't have many opportunities here. That's probably the first thing. The second one is to not look at it as a different community. I was raised in Orange County, and so my friends, like I said, they didn't look like me, and I was just, I guess, a weird duck growing up here. I didn't realize that there were problems. My best friend was black, another friend was gay, most of them were Asian and Mexican, and that was our crew. And so for me, I see things a little different, and I think that a lot of attorneys don't view things that way. They tend to see marketing groups like, oh, I can go attack this group here, or I can go get cases from them or the other. They don't see them as human beings. And that has nothing to do with attorneys or problems that they have. It's just a metric. And I think in order to make the change, we need to stop looking at race as a metric. It needs to be humanity. We're here representing our fellow citizens who have been harmed by other citizens. So let's just work together.
So intelligent, such an amazing answer. I'm so impressed, guys. I hope you guys are impressed too. I can't think of any more questions for Mr. Johnson. Thank you so much, Joseph, for coming today. I am going to wrap this segment up. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you would like, follow us or definitely subscribe and like this video. Follow us on Law Media Social on Instagram. We also have Law Media Inc. on Instagram. And look for us on TikTok. I am Law Doll Forever. Talk to you guys soon.